Tropico 6, How to Make Money. The first thing you want to do is all of these things. Produce and export luxury items such as rum. Export food or gold or any item that you have in surplus. So you want to have trade routes where you're exporting. And if you do luxury items, you're going to bring in the most money. Ask for financial aid through the embassy. Decrease the budget from your existing buildings. Look for expenses in your almanac and shut them down. Issue edicts or change the Constitution to improve your economy. Contact the broker to see if you can receive any financial offers. We're going to cover these all later. Complete tasks that have a financial reward. And then here's another tip. I learned it a long time ago. Save the game before you go to sleep. Run it overnight if you're profitable and see if you have more money in the morning. That's a little trick that I use. Okay, so these are trade routes. The imports are in red and the exports are in green. And you'll see it has like the little arrow going away from the island and the green coming towards the island. And these are all the countries. This is the volume that you are going to do. And the total extra charge, or it could be extra income because there's a deviation, right? So you want to learn how to do the importing and the exporting. You got to wait 5 months for the new offer. And this is how you're going to bring in a lot of income. You want to export expensive items, and some countries might refuse to trade with you. So these are different things you have to remember. These are edicts, and some of the edicts will earn you money or reduce expenses. For example, a church fee means that the visitor to religious buildings pay a $1 fee. It's going to bring in an extra dollar. You do have to pay the edict, which is 1,500. So you got to make sure you got a lot of people going to churches in order to make money from this. Some of these other options like free housing. If you do free housing, then the income of people paying rent, you're not going to have the rental income. So you got to be careful with what you do. Urban development is probably going to reduce construction costs. And then something like mandatory siesta, it's going to mean it's going to reduce efficiency, which means people are going to produce less goods every day. It's going to increase happiness, but it's going to reduce how much money you make. Check the broker for any offers that increase revenue. I'm going to tell you which one it is. It's this one right here that says sold. Unfortunately, I took the screenshot after I selected it, so I don't remember what it was. But there was an option here about some sort of income. So if you go to the broker, you can find those. These other ones here, like over here it says convincing talk and it says 2,500. It looks like it's bringing in income, and the other ones all look like expenses. Check your policies in the Constitution for anything that can reduce expenses or increase income. For example, this one decreases power consumption, which means you need less power, which could be using less coal. Decreases efficiency of industrial buildings by 5%, but that means you're going to make less money. The upkeep is decreased by $5, which means less expenses. So this is an example where energy efficiency might make you more money and it might not. For example, this increases the efficiency of buildings by 10%, which means you're going to bring in more money and more pollution. Industrial buildings improve profit by processing raw materials such as food or minerals into other goods or luxury items. I usually do rum just by habit because I've been doing it for years with Tropico 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And I've played all of them. Because something like fashion, pharmaceuticals, vehicles, you got to wait until later stages in the game before you can use them. Lumber mill is kind of easy to do. You just drop it down somewhere and start exporting. Cigar factory brings in the tobacco. Maybe I chose the rum distillery because it had high profit margin. I really don't remember. But when I play the game, you need money. I immediately try to build a rum distillery, and that's basically it. You can increase income by decreasing expenses. So go to your almanac and look for your expenses, like you got upkeep and wages, miscellaneous, etc. And reduce your wages, reduce your upkeep, etc., and you will make more money, at least immediately, maybe not in the long term. Check to see which resources you have an oversupply of and export them. For example, it says I have a ton of meat, but I don't know if this is the amount of meat that I've produced or if it's what I currently have. Because over here it says inflow produced 1,200, and then it says other. What does other mean? So I might have a supply of meat that I'm unaware of. And if you do, you just want to start exporting it. Request foreign aid from a country through its embassy. You probably have embassies, and you can ask for cash. Ask the superpower for 20,000. And you see it says this action has a cooldown of 36 months. That means you got to wait 3 years before you can ask for the money again. So if you create all these embassies, you've got an opportunity to ask for like 100,000. You can reduce expenses by lowering the budget of buildings. This is a budget, this is a full budget. You can bring it down to the lowest budget, and there's an option to do it across all buildings of a similar type. You hold like Control or Shift or something like that. Okay, sometimes you can do a reward, such as build an aqua park. This is called a task. And then you get a reward, in this case, 5,000. Now, obviously, it could cost more to do the aqua park, but keep in mind, if the aqua park generates revenue and it costs 5,000, then you might want to do it. Okay, so those are my tips on how to make money. This was July 30th, 2022. You might want, if it's been a long time, you might want to come back and see if I posted more tips. It is at cheapbooks.cc. Go to the video game section and look for Tropico.